Hi, I'm Meg and welcome back to Faith in the Waiting. It's just a channel where we can be open and just learn new things about important faith topics in our walk with Jesus. Whether you've been to church for 25 years, whether you're on your second week or you're looking to start your walk with Jesus, you're all welcome because this is an open and vulnerable place where we can just all share our journeys and see our growth. I hope you enjoy this video and have a good week. Bye.
Joy.
I had so much coffee and I'm still yawning.
I have one coffee and I'm really hyper, so.
That's good.
Okay.
This is Meg. No, I'm joking.
This is me.
What's your... Yo! This is Faith in the Waiting hosted by Meg. That was terrible.
That was great.
That's great. Faith in the Waiting, hosted by Meg. I'm going to answer some questions that she's got.
I wonder what we're going to talk about.
Jesus and stuff. And the
Maybe
Holy
Josh
Spirit.
might walk in. I
really
think Josh might walk in. I really feel like
Prophesy.
it. Watch, he will come in. I tell
Amen.
you.
You'll hear him, you won't see him.
It's a man.
Amazing.
Here with Joel.
Hey guys. My name's Joel. Hey guys.
Do you want to say who you are?
As Meg said, my name's Joel. I am the youth and young adults pastor across all locations at the C3 Church in Cambridge, Bury St Edmunds and Colchester.
Okay. And when did you start?
Oh, it's almost. Let me just. I'm bad, but I'm looking at my calendar. It's actually been 3 years this week since I started.
That's actually a long time.
job.
For me, in my lifetime, that's long.
It's the longest I've held down a job, so it's
That's
a long
like good.
time.
It shows that you're doing something good. And kind of more just like about you personally, like share what you want about like your testimony, like how starting with the deep stuff.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Like how you came to where you are today.
That's a big one.
Because you're here, but obviously stuff's kind of happened
Yeah.
to get here.
Yeah. So I grew up in a Christian home. My mum and dad have always been churchgoers, and I actually grew up in Birmingham. The Lord has delivered me from the accent.
I was gonna say I don't hear a Birmingham
that
accent
and
there.
private school will do that to you. So so I moved into like the Cambridge area when I was 11. And I started playing drums at my church and started singing from the age of about 11. I really didn't want to be there. I hated it. So I used to hide behind the piano and play on my little PSP, PlayStation Portable. Football Manager 2005. Loved it.
That's the year I was born.
Oh my gosh. That is so depressing. So I started serving from a young age, and I really developed a passion for God when I went to a summer festival, a Christian summer festival, where we all met at like Staffordshire Showground, and it was like we had maybe 5,000 other teenagers going to it, and I loved it. I was filled with the Holy Spirit, and that's when I kind of knew that I wanted to work for church. Like I wanted to do what my mum and dad did. I knew I wanted to work for church, and I knew I wanted to be in ministry from about 15. But I guess I had a journey to get here, which is fun. So I'm actually married with 2 kids, Arthur, who's 9,
So cute.
Isaac, who's 4, and I have a wonderful wife, Melissa. We've been married nearly 10 years. 10 years.
10 years, that's a long time.
It is.
That is a long time.
How old were you 10 years ago?
8.
Oh.
I was 8. I was a child. I was going to primary school then.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so
You had to get married. I was just there and
that's a long time ago.
learning my phonics.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, 3rd of August 2014. I still remember the day.
So cute.
If Melissa watches this, hey, I remembered. So we got together, started doing worship stuff together initially, and we both didn't work, and she tried to teach me guitar. which did
You say try.
She tried to teach me guitar, and I wasn't a very good student at that moment in time. And we got together, and one thing led to another, and she fell pregnant about 3 months into us starting to date. And obviously...
How old were you at this point?
Pardon?
How old were you at this point?
19.
Wow.
So as you know, like, my beliefs on sex before marriage would be like, protect yourself and don't do it. But I became a complete hypocrite, and I messed up in that way. And we had a decision to make whether to honour God in the mistakes that we've made, or try and figure it out ourselves. And we decided to honour God. We knew we loved each other. We knew we wanted to spend the rest of our lives together. So we got married on the 9th of August. I think I might have said the 3rd earlier. The 3rd is Melissa's birthday. The 9th is when we got married.
One of those days.
One of those days. And we got married. God's really been using that story of redemption, like how God has blessed us, and how Arthur is just the most incredible little boy. He's amazing. Love him to bits.
That's so cute. Like, even though that was kind of like in your story, that was probably a really turbulent time when that actually happened. You were like, what? But now, like...
Yeah, looking back, it wasn't...
It's worked itself out a bit more.
It has, yeah, and it definitely wasn't easy, and I don't suggest it to anyone, but God really moved, and without God being in that situation, I wouldn't be at church. Without people coming around to support us, we wouldn't have made it through the first year of marriage, it would have been
really hard, especially you're so young as well. Like...
Yeah, we got married at 19, I was 19, and it was I don't think it was tough, the marriage part of it. I think what was tough about it was being such young parents, and being like...
You're still learning yourself as well,
yeah,
at that age.
Yeah, I mean, like, we I guess we didn't really get our early 20s to explore the world, or to do what we wanted to do. We had this child, which is amazing, because I've always wanted to be a dad, so so
it's crazy. A boy dad as well.
A boy dad. I want a girl.
You want a girl?
I want a girl. One day.
They're very different. I have 2 brothers. One's called Isaac and he's 4 too. Yeah. I think it's something about the Isaacs that are 4 absolutely wild.
Mad.
But being a boy dad must be crazy. Oh, upside down. Okay, so I think you've already kind of answered this question, but it's kind of like, you grew up like Christian your whole life, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like even people that have grown up with that their whole life still have like a moment. Would you say that festival kind of thing was the moment, or did you have like a kind of separate?
I think we all have moments in our lives, and I think there are certain key moments. And I think about, you hear all these stories about pastors and about leaders who are like, I gave my life to Jesus at 4.
People tell me that.
I gave my life to Jesus when I was maybe 7, but I did it about 20,000 times. Like I knew, and don't do this. I knew that I would get a treat or McDonald's or something if I put my hand up to put.
You just did it every week.
So I did it like once a month, kind of thing, and it's the kind of thing that I was being taught at Sunday school. I was part of the band. And I believed, but I think it was my parents' faith, more like my parents have told me to believe, so I believe. And then when it came to like me making a decision, I'm going to live for God. I think it was probably the summer festivals, and I tell you what, it is life changing having that many young people there. And I think one of the moments was that my brother, who had walked away from God, he refused to go to church at about 13. He's 2 years younger than me, and he refused to go to church. And then at this festival, he came.
Oh, really?
He came because he knew that he could bring certain stuff and get away with it. He was a naughty boy. And I remember there was a moment in the service where they said we're going to be filled with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
He was like at the back. He didn't want to be filled with the Holy
He
Spirit.
was like, I'm just here because I have to be here.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't want to be a part of it, and he then fell flat on his face and started crying. And was like, I'm so sorry, God, for everything that I've done.
Wow.
Lifted his hands up in worship for the rest of the week. He was a transformed.
Like, changed in that moment. And he wasn't even like wanting that.
No,
like,
no.
He was not into it. Like,
I think...
Maybe deep down.
I think he wanted to give God a chance. Because God will never override our free will. But I think he wanted...
He had that little...
I think he was like, all right, God, if you're going to come at me...
Do it.
And he did. and that moment for me, as his brother who's seen what he's done, I was like, whoa.
And then seeing that probably built you up as well, because you were like, this is cool.
It did.
Like,
it was
he can do this. He can do
total
anything.
transformation.
I think seeing other people is also really powerful as well. Because I think a lot of people are very expectant on things like happening to them or big things in their life. But actually, like, if you look around at everyone around you, that's why church is so important as well.
Yeah.
Because you see everyone around you in their journeys, and then when someone gets this kind of breakthrough moment, you're like, it makes you feel like,
yeah, I think
it's exciting.
It's good that you feel that way.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I get jealous. I'm like,
like, I'm not saying that I don't. Like, there is moments where I'll be having a bad week and someone will walk in and be like, guess what happened? And I'm like, no.
It's like that moment in prophecy nights or whatever, and you're like, please, prophesy over me. And I'm like, they didn't prophesy over me.
When was it? Someone came in on a 5:30 and was speaking, and they went up to, like, they were pointing out people, and I was like, please talk to me. They didn't. But then the next week at YA, the lady was like, let me pray for you.
Oh, that's
in the
good.
thing.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, I remember that now, actually. Yeah.
That was like the week after. I was really sad that she didn't the lady didn't say anything, but...
I remember that, yeah. No.
That was so cool. I love that. Okay, so you're a YA. Are you a youth pastor?
Youth and young adults.
Youth and young adults, you're like both.
Yeah. 11 to 30.
11 to 30 is the craziest age range, I think.
It's good fun.
Out of all of it, good fun. Okay, so like, I was going to talk about youth kind of, because I feel like
sure,
there's a lot to talk about. But kind of one of the questions is, I feel like, I don't know, like in places, like I feel like every church probably has a bit of this, but there's some places where they do youth, and a big part of youth is having fun. And all, like, I know this church has lots of fun, so much going on. And some churches kind of like, you want to be fun but also keep to the message of why you're there. Like, there's a big balance of that, and I feel like some places have kind of lost that, and it's kind of just a fun element. You go there every week, but then once you get out of youth, you're a bit like, you don't have the foundations there. I kind of guess, what would you say the most important thing is in kind of maintaining the main message whilst having fun?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think fun is really important.
Yeah.
And we can say that joy is amazing, and we see it in so many things that we do.
Yeah.
And like, we do games every week, but we also bring worship and word, and then we go into group times. And I think that's really important, that we keep the main thing. And I think my vision for young people in this church, in what I want to see, is by the time that they're 18, if I've had them since they were 11, or when they're 16 they decided to come, or whatever it looks like, I want them to know that their identity is in Christ, that they are a royal priesthood, God's special possession. And I want their identity to flow from that. If their identity flows from that, then everything else, that's the cornerstone. If God is the cornerstone of your life, everything else, although it might be difficult, it kind of sorts itself out. And you've always got that cornerstone. And when you've got that cornerstone, you know that when the storms of life come, you're not going to fall, you're not going to stumble, you're not going to be crushed.
It's like Rosemary's
preach
on Sunday.
So identity is a key thing, because I think in this day and age, identity crisis is
like
real.
It's the centre. Like, if you have that,
it's the centre.
So
we will do books of the Bible. We will do stuff on love, sex, relationships.
Yeah.
We will do mental health. We're not afraid of topics that the world are talking about, and we will talk about them from a biblical perspective, and bringing that into their faith and into their daily walks is so important. And I love youth, man. It's one of the most amazing things.
Everyone that goes to youth loves you.
Oh, it's so good.
Like, yeah, I think the fun part as well is like the
It's
joy.
important.
Like, you don't want to be going there depressed every week. Like, you know what I mean?
We've recently taken their phones off them.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, so we've got a policy that our young people can't bring their phones to youth, or they do, and we take them and we put them in a secure location.
Secure location.
Well, yeah, we put them upstairs in the safe. And
Make it sound like we're in an army camp.
so, got to make sure that these people know that I'm not stealing the phones and putting them on eBay.
Facebook Marketplace, guys.
Don't look at my Facebook Marketplace. No, I'm joking. We get rid of them. We get rid of their phones. And we initially were like, is this going to absolutely plummet our numbers? And is no one going to come because they don't want to... They want to have fun and stuff. But actually, numbers have gone up.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they've gone up from about 35 to... last week we had... Not last week, the week before we had 70.
Wow. That's like double.
It's double.
It's double,
and it was... it's been a season where we're like, okay, let's take their phones away so that they can concentrate on the word. And I've forgotten what the question was, but...
It was about, like, keeping to the message whilst also having
Yes.
fun.
We don't need them to be distracted, do we?
No, exactly. Because they, like... It's so easy to be on your phone. Like, someone's preaching and you're just, like, there on your phone. Like, I see... Like, I'm calling everyone out. I see people there on their phones during the preach, and I'm literally sat there like, come on, guys. You're not taking this.
Pastor Steve once told me off because I was watching the Liverpool-Arsenal game on the front row.
But I seen Steve be looking at the football scores during the preach.
Oh, let's not bring Steve into this. We love you,
edit
Steve.
that part out. It's okay. We won't bring Steve into it. It's okay.
Yeah.
But this is kind of off of this, but it's not really like youth related, just in general.
Yeah.
And I feel like because you're a leader, kind of people. I guess maybe one of the reasons why some church. I'm not attacking churches, but I'm just saying some places might be missing. Because I was having a message. I was having a conversation with Kelly about this yesterday, and it was kind of about the leaders that are going into these youth ministries. Are they like people will say, "Oh, I'm called to ministry," but are they meant to be in ministry? You know what I mean? And then they lose all the values. Does that make sense? Like they go into.
Kind of.
You can say no.
No, I see what you mean.
They go into it like not with the purpose that they should be going into it with.
Oh right, yeah. No, I get you.
Like they have the wrong agenda.
Like they want a platform or something. Like
yeah,
that.
they go in it to be liked, I guess, rather than actually go into it to make.
I mean,
a difference.
My biggest fear is fear of rejection. So I get wanting to be liked, right?
I mean, to a more extreme. Like everyone wants to be liked.
Everyone wants to be liked.
Wants to be
I think what we struggle with in this day and age is an entitlement of I deserve to be on the platform, or I deserve to be the one leading or speaking, when actually your character isn't formed, and character is formed in the dark place. It's formed in that room where you the way I see it, right? So I heard this analogy once. Old photos, right? You'd have to go into a dark room to develop them.
Yeah.
Right? You'd have to get your film can and
it's
you
getting
roll
old.
it out.
This is past my time, Joel.
It's past my time too. Let's be real. No, it's not.
No.
No.
Don't lie.
No, but you had to be in that dark room to develop, and that sometimes looks like, okay, I need to put the chairs out every week. I need to clean the toilets every week. I need I need to be there for young people. I need to mentor young people and all this kind of stuff. You have to serve before you. That's your foundation. The foundation of being on the platform isn't your communication ability or your vocal ability. It has to be serving. It has to be, right, I've got a voice that I want to help people. It's not I've got a voice and I want it to be heard. It's so important.
You can use that in so many ways, and kind of it's not the whole point of it isn't being up there and being this person. Like it's being there with people.
I didn't get a platform like leading and being on staff. Even though at 15 I knew that that's where I wanted to be. That was my kind of calling. I didn't have that until I was 25.
Wow.
No, it was 26 actually, because I'm 29 now. But I had that kind of 10, 11, 12 year gap between, right, I want to be speaking, I want to be a leader, but I had to go through a process. And I'm not saying it's going to be 10 years for everyone, but for me...
The process is different.
Yeah, but for me it was, right, I've got to learn how to be a father, and then I had to learn some stuff about leadership. I had to learn how not to do things. I had to learn how to do things as well.
Before you get to that point.
And I think one thing that if you are in that dark room place, if you're being developed, one thing that I always looked at and still continue to look at is how can I do things differently? How, like, learn from every situation. So if you're struggling with something and you're like, my boss is doing this, so now you know how not to act.
Yes.
And that's so important that it's still a learning process, it's still a learning curve.
Everything's a learning process, isn't it?
Exactly.
But like, it's so, if you don't, I get what you're saying, because I feel like if you need to have also those kind of rougher moments, like where you fail on something before you get to the kind of...
We'll all fail, don't worry.
But you have to fail to learn.
Yeah.
If you don't fail, like, you're just gonna not be a developed person.
Yeah, I think that development is the key foundation of leadership is, right, okay, so, for example, if the Connect team goes down, or if there's no one to set up the chairs, I'm not here to speak, to be on the platform and preach, and not do the chairs.
Yeah.
I'll go and do the chairs.
Yeah, like, do those, like, everyone kind of chips in, but yeah, you're not just there to be this...
A couple of weeks ago, this is terrible. A couple of weeks ago, the cleaners came up to me and were like, "Look at this on the floor in the girls' toilets," and I picked up a tampon, a used tampon. I picked it up, like.
You've got to do those
I'm
things.
responsible, and I'm gonna look after stuff.
I feel like that's in any job, not just church. Like lots of people want to just get to it's not even the top, like the top first, and it's like, actually you need to, like, most of the CEOs that you'll look at will say, I was like doing these horrible jobs that I hated to get here.
Yeah, I mean, I'd do it all again. Like, I'm not in it for a platform, I'm in it for people. I love people.
That's good, because I feel like you wouldn't get anywhere working in church if you were just there.
You'd be found out, let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You wouldn't get away with it.
No.
Because it's a very people
orientated.
So if you don't like people, you're not really
going
to get very far.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
But kind of moving on from that, modernisation of the church. Okay, so like, I know our church is considered quite modern compared to quite a lot of churches, and there's probably churches that are more modern than us, and there's quite, you've had like scandals that go on, like scandals that go on. This is kind of a hard question, because
go for it. I love
like
hard
sometimes
questions.
you have to say the bad things as well as the good things. With modernisation, is there anything you think we're doing wrong?
Oh,
in
absolutely.
Being modern? Like going modern and going away from the traditional, like.
Right. Okay.
Like, I think it's a good thing as being modern, but do you think there's also some things that are like letting us down?
I think we, as the church, should influence culture, not be influenced by culture sometimes. And I think we can look at things and be like, okay, we want that in the church. When actually, if it's compromising on our Christian values, we shouldn't. It's an interesting conversation. I think we'll look back. I think we'll look back in, like, people will look back in, if Jesus hadn't returned in 200 years' time, and be like, whoa, why did they do that? Just like we could look back in the last 50, 60 years, kind of thing. I think technology is such an amazing tool.
Yeah. Especially during COVID.
Yeah. So like it's like a hammer, but what are you gonna hit with it? Are you going to hit yourself in the head, or are you going to hit that nail?
These analogies, yes, Joel.
Mic drop. No, but what are you going to hit? Are you gonna try and engage people with your church life, or are you going to build a platform for yourself?
Yeah.
There's differences, and I think we need to be careful with how we use them. To be fair, I think C3 does a good job with that, and I think Steve and Angie are very good and considerate, very slay.
Yeah,
Not
very
something
slay.
I'd say, but they're incredible, and I think I think we as a church use the platforms well.
Yeah.
And what I love about technology as well is there's an opportunity to reach others that we wouldn't necessarily reach. So on average, people watch church online 7 times before they come to church in person.
I did that.
Yeah.
I was on the church online and watched it before I came here. So it was a very...
Doesn't surprise me.
Like,
that's
so
what
many
we
people
would...
do that.
Yeah, that's the reality of today's world. So using church online as a tool to reach people is brilliant, because we want to disciple people and we want to change people's lives for the glory of God. And if we use it right, we can do that.
That's like me. I think when I was talking to Phil, me and Phil did a video, and I was talking to him, and so many people will be like, oh, like technology, we don't need that. But actually, like, it can reach people in new ways that... Like, for even people, like, say someone's in the hospital and they want to go to a church service, like, they can still access it through the online, or they literally can't. Like, there's so many people I know on church online that can't leave their house for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And they've got their own community.
It's special. I think we've got to use it in the right way. And to be fair, I am not very good at, like, technology or anything. I can barely work my iPhone. But I see the benefits of it. I think we... Like we've been talking about, it just needs to be used in the right way.
I think the reason I asked that question is because I have friends from different, like, friends at college who are from different denominations. Like, I have a Baptist friend. She'll probably watch this, so apologies. I have a Baptist friend, and when I first started coming to C3, she was like, "Whoa, like, they're so different."
Yeah.
And that's often people's reactions when I say I come here. And those, like, a few of my friends go to churches that's similar to C3, the kind of vibe. I don't know what you describe the vibe, but the same kind of vibe.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh, they're too modern. Because, you know...
Hello.
Hi.
Joss has just walked in.
Hey.
Yeah, we're just filming a podcast.
Oh, sorry.
That's alright, no worries.
I was on to... Oh, I remember what I was going to say now.
No.
You good?
Yeah. I'm just looking at some stuff.
Do you see what I see?
Sorry.
Do you see?
What are you looking for?
Jehovah, he shames every idol. That's a little acapella session. Oh, he goes by the name of
Jehovah.
Project ongoing.
Jehovah.
Is that Zed?
Call the name. Call the name. Call the name. Oh.
Look at that.
So this is.
They're filming something for Breathe, aren't you?
Ooh.
Do you know what we're doing?
No. What are you doing?
That was such a mischievous laugh.
You know Michael McIntyre's Midnight Game Show?
Are
Are you actually doing that?
Do your parents
To
know?
who?
No.
To your pet?
My dad knows, my mum doesn't.
What time are you doing it at?
Half 11.
Are they going to be asleep at that time?
Well, my dad says he's going to make it so that she is asleep.
You need to go to sleep right now.
Yeah.
I hope they're sleeping
That's so
pyjamas,
funny.
mate.
Well, they do, yeah.
That's so funny.
My dad's like, yeah, that's alright, we can make it happen. So, yeah.
Is Byron doing it as well?
Yeah. So he's doing, because he's doing YA, isn't he? So he's like, well, I can do YA and then come on afterwards.
Wait, is this tonight?
Yeah.
That's so bad.
Don't give
That's
her like
amazing.
a heart
I
attack,
love it.
please. We
She's
need
not
her.
that old.
I think she'll be alright.
You mean it in that way, bro?
I think she'll be alright.
I meant sometimes shock can cause
I'm
heart
slightly
problems.
nervous that she'll be like...
What were we actually... I know what the next point was, but I don't know what we're actually talking about. How do you believe we could further equip young people for their calling?
Oh.
Come on, Joel. Share your wisdom.
Say again. Say again. How do you believe we can...
How do you believe that we could further equip younger people to fulfill their calling?
That's a good question.
You're like, I've not deep this one before.
No, it's a really good question because I love it. Like, to name drop like Kelly.
Yeah.
I hope she won't mind me saying this, but when we first had a conversation about her being on band, she came, did one session and said, "No, it's not for me," and kind of went away from it for a little while, but then came back to it. And look at her now; she's a worship leader in youth. She's incredible. She's a great communicator, and she'll go on to do great things with her life.
She was doing worship last night as well.
Yeah,
which is so good.
She's incredible. So I think further opportunities for people. I think in Timothy it says, "Don't let people look down on you because you are young." Young people, if you look at revivals in the past, it was generally led by young people. If you look at the disciples, they were teenagers when they first started. So young people can have a massive impact on society and on life, and I love to give them platforms. Obviously, we need to develop character because teenagers are teenagers, but at the same time, there's grace for that, and I love giving people opportunities. It's one of my favourite things to do. Is like lead and then develop young people. So more opportunities is definitely a thing, and I want them to be bold in what they want to do.
Yeah.
I want to know what they want to do, and I want to help them get to that. So there's this young boy in youth who came up to me last Friday who wants to do graphic design. So I'm like, cool. He's like, I want to do that in the future. I'm like, well, why not now?
Why can't you start doing something now? It doesn't have to be like a crazy crazy thing. Like, that's what I think at the table event. So this applies to YA too, I think. The kind of, they were like, oh, what's the best thing about youth and YA? And I literally said, like, I started doing the photography at YA. Like, they were like, David showed me, and then it kind of built into doing it at the main service as well. And like with the words, I know it's really easy, but like I found it hard, okay? Yeah. I did it. It's when the worship team go, we're gonna sing another song, and you're like, I didn't plan for this one.
Oh, I'm the worst for that.
You are that person. But I learned the skills. Like they let me do it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be this person who's done it all the time. Like if you went up to someone and went, I'd really like to learn that, people here will be like, sure, let me teach you.
Yeah.
And they do that in youth as well. Like if someone goes, you know what, like I really am into photography, like there'll be someone that goes, you know, like I'll show you how to do it.
We do Big Youth Night in youth every week, which is where the young people do everything. So they will lead the game, they will lead the worship, they will then get people to preach, young people to preach, and then the group time, the questions will be written by young people. That's and they'll really discuss young people. And that for me is a really important thing, is empowering young people to do that. And young adults. I think I heard one time, as a leader of ministry, I have the option to either grow myself or grow others. And the way that I saw it is like if we're a tree and you see a branch, you see other sticks and branches coming off it. That's
like Jesus in the vine.
Yeah. I can either keep it to myself and be like, no, I'm gonna do it, or I can branch off and give other people and empower other people to do things. And it's so important for my development, for their development, for everyone's development, to not hold things so tightly that we can't give it to someone else. And like God made us all individual, so like you'll do things that I could never do. Yeah. So what's the point in me telling
just
you
holding
that?
On to it.
Yeah, me telling you that you can't do photography.
Yeah.
When I can't do photography, there's no point.
You're like, So I guess it's really nice because this isn't even related to like having opportunities, but it's even like the empowerment. You can see that these people feel empowered because like it's like on a Sunday when you're there and the youth are stood there. Like I think it was this Sunday.
Yeah.
Like they were stood there. There was kids like proper in deep in worship, and you're like, whoa, these people are like 10.
Yeah.
And you can see that the emotions.
I purposely don't sit with them. So they sit on front and left, and I sit in the centre
Yeah.
aisle. I purposely don't sit with them so that they can engage in worship how they want. And then it was this Sunday where they're all jumping and dancing.
So I was sat there like next to you, and I was like.
And what's amazing is I know some of those young people are introverted. I know that some aren't the most outgoing people, but they're still there jumping and dancing.
It's so nice to watch.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I love it. And I don't have to necessarily lead that anymore because they love worship.
They
which
want
is
us
just
to do it
amazing.
so much.
Yeah.
It's so cute. Okay, I've got a couple more questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so the last kind of one about ministry, kind of YA youth. You've kind of touched this on as well, that you're not afraid to kind of talk about anything, but kind of young people issues.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different issues in YA that'll probably be like the main thing that you like that you wouldn't see in like adult. Issue.
Right. Yeah.
And like kids, like they'll have certain issues that you won't see in adult ministry. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, I'm not asking you to go through the safeguarding policies, but
No.
personally, how do you deal with it?
You mean like safeguarding issues? I'm not going to talk about.
No,
but
like just young people troubles. You know what I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
not like safeguarding level, but just general.
I mean,
like arguments. Young people argue more than you'd think.
You'd think.
There's probably a lot of adult arguments, but you know what I mean, like bickering and stuff like that.
I think keep the main thing, and I think I try and put myself in their shoes, as in like if they come to me with something and they're like, I'm heartbroken or I've just argued with this person, it can be the hardest thing that they've ever been through.
I think you've told me that, yeah.
And if it's the hardest thing they've ever been through, they deserve compassion. It's not about levels of, what I've been through as an adult or what this other person's been through. Because for them, it could be the worst thing they've ever dealt with. And always having compassion, because if we don't have that compassion, then they're never going to come to us. And also, like, I never act surprised. No matter what you tell me,
yeah,
I won't go, whoa!
You're like,
I'll take it.
I've learned that about adults when I was always in like youth stuff. Like they're just like straight face, and you're like, I've just told you the most crazy thing, and you're just sat there like.
Well, it's because I want you to trust me.
Yeah, because if you act surprised, you're gonna be like.
Yeah, I mean, there are things that people go through that I've never been through. So I will say, I'm so sorry. I have no idea how difficult this must be for you. But let me tell you, I'm going to pray for you, and I'm going to be with you in that situation.
Sorry.
Is that right?
We're nearly there. I've got like a couple more questions.
Yeah, no worries. Go for it.
These are light-hearted questions. Now we've asked the deep questions.
So many deep questions.
I woke up and decided, let's ask Joel all the hardest questions there ever are about church.
I did have all the stuff I need, but then I got a text saying, can you also bring this?
It's okay.
This can be like a chill question. This isn't like deep. I can ask this like.
I don't think any of them have actually. Yeah, you haven't asked any really difficult questions.
I wanted to ask a really difficult one.
Yeah, you haven't asked any ones that I can't answer.
I'm not going to ask offensive ones. I'm not going to ask one that where you're like, oh, I physically cannot answer that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Your most embarrassing. This is we've gone the opposite end of the spectrum. Your most embarrassing. Because I asked Steve this, and he said it was when his like trousers ripped in a worship session.
Oh no, I've never.
He didn't have any spares.
I don't think I've ever ripped my trousers in worship.
No, just an embarrassing moment at church.
This church?
Yeah.
At
any time.
Oh,
It doesn't have to be like any time.
I was going to say, at this church, I don't think I've really had any embarrassing moments. There was one really weird moment where when you're tired and intrusive thoughts just win. I was emceeing at an evening service and I was kind of saying, right, we're going into this new series and this is the book that we're reading. and I said something like, I'm just going to bend over and get it. And I said, that's a really weird thing to say.
You just said that.
I said, that's a really weird thing to say. And I think if I would have just left it as, I'm going to bend over and get this book, it would have been...
No one would have deeped it at all.
But because
but
I said
made
something...
it weird. You made it weird yourself.
I made it weird.
I am officially done now.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
That was Josh again.
That was Josh. I think one moment that I've had that was really embarrassing was during a team prayer once. It wasn't at this church, and it was ages ago. And you can take this out if it's too inappropriate. But I was praying.
I'm scared now.
No, it's not that bad. I was praying for us as we're going into worship, and I was like, yeah, Lord, I pray for the production guys and the sound guys as they sit at the back twiddling with their knobs. And I realised what I'd said.
Got mascara on. You can't make me cry laugh.
It wasn't
You
during
actually
the
said
service.
that.
I actually said that. It wasn't. Everyone started laughing, which was great because.
You didn't say that in the service.
No.
Imagine if you
I
said
said
that in
it.
front of everyone.
Nah.
All the kids would have been like on the floor.
No, I've never. I mean, I don't get embarrassed very easily. It's like I miss words when I'm preaching or when
Your head's just in the clouds.
Yeah, well, no, I just.
By the things you've told me.
I have a thing, right? Like, I'm giving my all and I'm giving my best.
Yeah.
Why should I be embarrassed if I make a mistake?
Be authentic.
I'm authentic.
Exactly.
I try to be. I am authentic, but I try to be. I'm trying to be humble as well. And like, you know, like as a worship leader, like you go out of tune, you sing out of key, or you sing the wrong verse, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm still worshipping. I'm still giving everything I have to God. It was
just
just
not being the best, is it? It's just showing.
Yeah.
I don't know what accent I put on there.
It's just about being.
I'm trying to think if I've had an embarrassing moment. I've not been here long enough to have an embarrassing moment yet, luckily. I've fallen down the stairs. I got locked out. I think I said this I got locked out. Basically, I used to usually stay with Esther, like, when she's locking up.
Yeah.
And, like, I was, you know, this top stairs, it shuts. And then, for some reason, the other door was shut.
Yeah.
And I went out the stairsway. I was stuck in there and I didn't have my phone.
Oh, no.
And it was, like, really late at night. And I was just waiting there until someone came. And it was ages. It was literally, like, half an hour.
Nah,
And they were like, we've been looking for you.
Like,
we need to go home.
Yeah.
We need to go home now. And I was just sat there, like...
Oh, no. I've never been
there.
there.
But, my last question for you is... This is really putting you on the spot now. Like, I didn't tell you about this one.
Do it. Go on.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not even a funny question.
Oh, go on.
You're just in a funky mood. Your favourite book, verse at the moment? Because I know it changes. For me, it changes. But at the moment.
My favourite book?
Ideally verse, but I know some people
Verse.
can't do that.
Oh, Romans. Romans is
Real?
my favourite book.
Same.
Let me get my favourite verse up because it's a long one and I don't want to butcher it. But I needed this as a teenager. And whenever I'm going through hard times, Romans 8, 37 to 39. And it is, "No, in all things we are more than conquerors through Christ who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in creation will ever be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Jesus Christ our Lord." And it was like, it's such an important verse for me because it just goes into detail. It doesn't say God loves us. It goes, no, death nor life, angels, demons, heights, depths, whatever it looks like, Jesus still loves you. And I think as a teenager, I really needed that verse. I really needed to know that I was loved, and I needed it to be not, oh, I love you. I needed it like, I love you this much, and nothing will be able to separate you from it, because we all mess up, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of, it's a universal thing that we all go through it, and you just want...
Yeah, so that is my favourite Bible verse of all time.
All time. Mine
time.
used to be Romans, but my favourite book is still Romans, but like it kind of changes depending on what's going on. And Curtis, # shout out to Curtis.
Love Curtis.
He was like I went to him and said stuff, and he was like, read Job.
Job. Yeah.
Read Job. Because I was like, this is not fair. Life is not fair. I'm being like this amazing person right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna be real. I'm being this amazing person right now. Like I come here every week. Like, who knows how many times a week? Read the Bible every day. What is going on? Like, why is it? And he was like, read that book. So I've started reading it, and I'm like,
Put things into perspective.
because you're like,
doesn't
actually,
it?
you could be like, I'm not a perfect person. No one's a perfect person. But I'm like, I feel like I'm in this season of my life where I'm being pretty like obedient. So I'm like, why is this not reflecting right now?
Nah, I get
But
it.
he was like this really like nice person, and he still had everything
Taken away.
taken away from
yeah.
him, like his kids and everything. And there still wasn't really an answer for why at the end, which kind of got me a bit mad. Because I was
You
like,
could
why?
Ask him when you're in heaven. No, it was.
Is that some sort of threat?
No,
You can ask when you're in heaven.
When we're in heaven, he'll be
Just
there.
soon.
He'll be like, Job, my man, what happened?
I think that's more of a good question.
Why? Yeah, you can ask Jesus as
I
well.
don't think he knew.
I think he will now. Now that he's in heaven. I hope he
He just
knows.
sat there like, I still don't know.
Yeah. We'll queue him to see Jesus for eternity. No, I think it's an important perspective to have. Is like, okay, because there's always going to be someone that has it worse than you, and I need to remember that.
Yeah, it's so easy to kind of
It's
lose
so easy
sight
to
of
forget.
that.
So easy. Another book is James.
Okay.
James, if you want,
Is that his? I think
James is his book. He
it's his book. Yeah,
it's
funny
his
that.
book.
It's really funny that.
What I love about James is if you don't have a mentor and you need a mentor, someone that will really challenge you and give you kind of instructions on your life. It's only 5 chapters long.
Yeah, I read James.
But it properly digs into you.
Yeah.
And I love James.
This is the fact, like, I'll get into a whole thing here. But I read like the start of it, and James was Jesus' brother, right?
Yeah.
And like in the start, it says something like, something about him still being a servant to Christ, even though it was his brother. I was like, that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
That, like,
It's a great one, and it's like, consider it pure joy when you go through trials. I was like,
you're like, yeah.
yeah, pure joy.
I think Esther told me to read that. She said it to me. I was like, okay.
See it.
Everyone keeps sending me different books. I'm like, I can't read all of the books of the Bible at one time.
James is a great one.
As
I love
great
James.
as I am at reading stuff, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all my questions for you today. I did have one quick fire, like random.
Go on.
So we ask each other one question that we want to ask each other
Oh, okay.
on the spot.
Okay.
Should we ask you first? You ask me.
No, I'll ask you. I've got one.
Oh no,
got
this is where you think of all the deep ones that I didn't ask.
Eschatology. No, I'm joking. No. What are the dreams and visions that God's given to you on your heart for this time?
Bro,
I want to hear it.
can you elaborate, please?
What are the dreams?
What do you mean?
like,
What do you
like
mean, bro?
I know that I have a calling to something, right?
Okay.
I'm kind of asking you what your calling is, and like, you know, you've got the dream and vision of in the future.
Yes, also like right now.
Goes into your calling.
Okay.
And I want to know what it is.
Right now?
Go
Like
for
what
it.
my that's a really hard one for quick fire. I said quick fire. That's
Sorry.
not quick fire.
Alright, what's your
That's a good
favourite
question.
colour?
No, good question. It's blue. But at the moment, I'm going into a long summer after A levels.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've always been helping others, but I feel like it's a different, like at the moment, I feel like kind of, I've always been in my heart just kind of, I don't know how to say this without offending people. Helping
God, offend people, I don't mind.
helping people that are kind of in the same lifestyle as me, like say like giving a lift home, I'll be like, oh, I'm helping someone.
Yeah.
But I really feel like impact and stuff like that, and people less fortunate than me. I really feel like that's something that I've kind of actually like had my eyes open to recently, and actually been like, there is other ways to help people than just kind of the people in your circle.
Yeah, yeah.
Like homeless people, not even just homeless people, so maybe some people just less fortunate than you. And whether that's giving my time to impact other kind of things, like even friends in my life, because this is me being very honest, like I am a very reserved person. Like if I'm broke with money, I'll keep hold of that money that I have left.
Right, yeah.
Where it's not always like, obviously don't make yourself like on the streets, but I feel like the next period of my life, because the next period isn't necessarily like doing something physically, it's also like emotionally like kind of season, and I feel like kind of opening myself to be a bit more like, because in the Bible it says like giving even when you're not in the best position, still helping others, and I feel like that's something that is gonna develop more in my attitude.
Yeah.
Like attitude wise.
I get that.
And it's hard to do because
It's not easy, yeah.
I'm literally, guys, I'm a student. Like I paid £35 for my fuel each week, and I have like £10 left. So I
Could buy me a McDonald's.
with that £10, what am I going to do for the rest of the time? But yeah. So, and I see, like, I think it's because, like, I might not put this in because it's personal, but, like, I couldn't afford fuel, like, the other week, and Curtis went and filled my car up. And he's not rich, and he did that, and I really want to do that, like, be more like that for other people as well.
Yeah.
That was a really long-winded response, but yeah.
Helping people.
So I've always been helping people, but I think I've only seen it in a certain...
In the way that it's...
And kind of shifting it. There's ways that I can also do that I needed.
That's good.
So yeah.
I like that.
Okay, my question for you is...
You're going to make it hard as well. My favourite colour's red.
What's a calling that you've ignored? Have you had a calling that you've ignored?
Probably.
Props! Probably.
Calling that I've ignored. I have to think about that one.
Interval. Do you see?
I don't know. I think one time I was called to come to this church, C3,
Yeah.
in 2020, and I went to another church instead. Because I'd had history with C3, I went for the worship pastor position.
Is that Byron's job?
Yeah, and I didn't get it, which was fine. Like, just a caveat, like, Byron does a better job than I could ever do. Like, first time I was here, the track stopped working on a Sunday, and he turned around and fixed it, and then went back to leading worship. I could never do anything like that, and he's
very sleek like that.
He's so good at his job, and he's so good, and he cares so deeply for people. I couldn't do the job that Byron does, but at the same time, I knew that we were meant to be at C3. I
some sort of way.
basically refused for like maybe 6 months, a year.
Have an answer. This is literally not like.
Yeah, no, there you go. I've got one. I had to think, and I refused to go to C3 for so long, because of the hurt that I'd been caused, and it was really difficult for me to then, after 6 months of Melissa nagging me, not nagging me, but telling me, Joel, I think we're called to C3. I think we need to go.
Like, no.
I was like, I don't want to go there. Yeah, I'm angry. I don't want anything to do with that church. So I was like, we live in Ely, which is like 45 minutes away.
Just exposing your location.
That's fine. You can come to Ely. I'll hang out with you.
Come to his house.
I'm not telling you my address, but
number one.
It's the cathedral. I live at the cathedral. So there you go. You know.
In the grave.
In the grave. No. Jeez, that's dark.
If you disappear after this video, we know where you are.
Yeah. No, I forgot what I was saying. So we live 45 minutes away. So I was like, there's this church that's an hour and a half away. That's not too bad. There's this church that's an hour away. And Melissa's like, no, Joel, we can't. We need to serve the local church. And I was like, but why does it have to be this one? And after 6 months, she kind of ground me down. And I was like, yeah, okay, all right, let's go to C3. And we went to C3, and the first person to talk to me when I was there was Byron.
I was going to say, I bet it was Byron.
It was Byron, and we linked up on Instagram and stuff.
LinkedIn.
Not LinkedIn, linked up. And then I think it was maybe 2 weeks after that first service, we were leading worship in Bury, St Edmund's C3 in Bury. And it very quickly kind of happened that we just got stuck in. And then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so if I didn't obey God, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now. If I didn't obey God, I wouldn't be in my calling now. And I guess I owe it all to Melissa, because if it was my choice at that point, I wouldn't have been here.
Yeah. Shout out to Melissa.
Shout out to my wife,
What's
Melissa.
her nickname again?
Oh, I've got lots. Melissy? Melly Belly.
Melly Belly, that's the one.
There's Melly Belly Balula.
She's going to love that.
She's going to love this. I hope this goes viral. And she has to deal with this. No,
Melly Belly. Make a little TikTok with a compilation of all her name.
Yeah, let's do it. No. That's a time.
We love that.
But God's grace in that situation has provided a way for me to still fulfill my calling, even though I went against him, which is
slay.
Which is very slay. I'm too old. Slay.
You're not old. You're literally.
Yeah, I just feel old compared to you. When were you born? 2008.
5.
2005. 2005. What was I doing? I remember the Champions League final in 2005. I watched it.
I was a baby. I didn't.
Liverpool, greatest comeback in history.
2005.
3-0 down at half time. Got to 3-3. Then went 1 on penalties.
Slay.
Okay.
I think that concludes.
Sorry.
I think that concludes anyway. Thanks, bro.
Thank
I don't want to put an American accent then. I'm
Thanks,
going through
bro.
all that. Thanks, bro. Thank you for coming
You're
to
welcome.
the channel.
I enjoyed it. It was good fun.
It was interesting.
Interesting. Okay. Good. Awesome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I didn't.